So if you're into collecting fragrances, you'll understand that it's always really cool to find a new scent that you really enjoy. I'm going to introduce you guys to one today that is very under the radar, and there are some pros and cons to it. So if you're considering buying this fragrance, I suggest watching this video before you make that decision. Hey guys, welcome back to Real Scent Review. Today I'm bringing you guys 0.2 by the house of Accendis. It's so named because it is the second fragrance from this house. This was released several years ago now. I believe it was released in 2016. It's gone through some bottle design changes, and I'll say this, the fragrance smells very good, but with a huge asterisk right next to that. So a little bit about the house of Accendis. They're from Italy. The name Accendis is actually Latin. It means you illuminate. So the theme behind this house is to kind of spark energy, to kind of be able to fuel yourself in order to achieve your objectives. So the theme, it's about energy, intensity, fuel for life, in other words. Now that makes sense because up to a certain point, all of the bottles in the house were shaped like jerry cans, right? Like gas canisters. However, I don't know, there was a change at some point and now the bottles look like this. Anyway, getting into the presentation here. The box is a book style box, opens like so, and there's a little bit of a comfy resting place for the bottle inside. Very nice. It's plastic, but it's made to feel like a really hard leather. There is an outer sleeve, which is the same exact black type of plastic that's made to look like leather. The sleeve just slides on, you know, yada yada yada. The bottle here, like I said, I don't know when the change occurred, but there has been a change in the bottle design. Like I said, they used to look like jerry cans. Accendis on the front here looks like a gold swirl of oil-based paint. On the bottom we have volume information and batch code. Now the batch code for this is 2204255A. I've tried to look up that batch code online. It's impossible to find anything. So all my experience is going to be with this version of the bottle. Yeah, so I'll be honest, the atomizer sucks on this. As you can see, it's just a huge fat burst, very wide distribution, very short distribution, very scattered. It's like a shotgun kind of distribution, and the atomizer also dribbles juice, just very poor quality atomizer, not a fan. Also the cap, which looks like this, gold columned kind of cap around the perimeter, and we have Accendis engraved into the top. Fits into place quite well, the cap actually, so that might be a redeeming factor. All right, now time to get into what really matters. In this, I detect at the top some Peru balsam and some black pepper. In the mid, I get some cedar and guaiac wood. And in the dry down, I get some labdanum and some sandalwood. So in the opening, blasted right away with a bunch of Peru balsam. So Peru balsam, it's a tree balsam, comes from a certain type of tree. I forget the exact name of it, but it is actually not native to Peru. Most of the cultivation these days actually happens in El Salvador. Anyway, the point is this smells like very thick, very balsamic, spicy tar. Now, I don't want you to think tar that's used to construct roadways or something like that. No, there's nothing ashy or rubbery in this or industrial. It's very thick, balsamic. There's sort of like a syrupiness. It's not overly sweet, but there's like a touch of vanilla, a lot of spice, and there's this camphoric, piney touch. So in a way, it's kind of like a syrupy myrrh with a little bit of vanillic tinges added. If you're looking for kind of a comparison, Déclaration Parfum by Cartier has a very similar note in that you'll notice like a syrupy, balsamic, spicy accord all the way through. In that particular fragrance, it's Tolu balsam, and here it's Peru balsam, but they're very similar. Yeah, so in the beginning, that Peru balsam is mixed with black pepper. Not a huge dose of it. It just gives a kind of screechy, slightly spicy black pepperiness that kind of can tickle your nose a little bit, but it's not overpowering. Like I said, the opening is all about that Peru balsam. In the mid, I get some cedar, so it's like fresh, aromatic, sharp cedar. You know, we all know what cedar smells like at this point. Fresh, aromatic wood. Very nice here. Also paired with some guaiac wood. Now the guaiac wood is going to give it a darker woody tinge that's coupled with some like burnt charred wood accords. So you definitely get that the dark woodiness. It's almost like a cedar but darker, and on top of that you get that burnt charred wood. Really nice. I wouldn't say it goes all the way smoky, but it's like, you know, after you put out a campfire, maybe you come back a couple of days later, that's kind of the smell that I get in the middle. And in the dry down, I definitely get some sandalwood, warm, musky, creamy, almost milky, a little bit woody, and it's mixed with some labdanum. So it's like a very light, leathery warmth, a little bit soft, musky, touch of sweetness to that labdanum here. All in all, the scent profile in this is very good. A little bit old school, especially because of that Peru balsam. Like I said, if you've smelled Déclaration Parfum by Cartier, you'll know that it has like definitely an old-fashioned tinge to it. I get that here as well. But this one here, compared to Déclaration Parfum, this is much woodier. There's less sweetness, and yeah, there's some other differences, but all in all, they're kind of similar. A little bit different at the same time. Most of the similarities I'm drawing between the two are coming from those balsamic accords. So, you know, I alluded to something in the beginning of this review. The smell is great, but there's a big asterisk next to that. Yeah, so the performance on this is like non-existent. The performance is terrible. I'm extremely disappointed in this. This is one of those fragrances I did a lot of research on. You know, sometimes you get disappointed. I was expecting big things from this fragrance, and unfortunately, it just did not meet my expectations. In terms of smell, the smell is pretty much what I was expecting, but a lot of reviews out there say that this is super powerful, you know, in terms of longevity and projection. It's not at all. It's a very, very weak scent, which extremely disappointing. This fragrance has huge potential. Like I said, this is a newer bottle. I'm not sure if the older bottles had better performance, but while the performance is terrible on this, I admit it's a very well blended fragrance, and the scent itself is incredible. Unfortunately, it just doesn't last long enough to be able to enjoy it fully, in my opinion. So like, what kind of performance am I getting from this? So in terms of projection, maybe projects at an arm's length for the first 15 minutes, and then it very quickly dies down to a skin scent. The total longevity, honestly, after an hour and a half, I can't even detect this on my skin. It seems to last a little bit longer on paper, but not much. I'm very disappointed because I love the smell of this. It's very balsamic, but not in a sweet, syrupy way. Spicy, balmy, and with that camphoris pine. The scent profile, like I said, is amazing, just doesn't last. Very deceiving in the opening. Like I said, it dies down to the skin after 15 minutes or so. I don't know, very disappointing. This could have been one of the greatest fragrances in this type of genre, but alas, sometimes life just disappoints us, doesn't it? Anyway, if you're really interested in this, you can get it at FragranceNet right now in North America for $94 US. And here in the European Union, Deluxe is carrying it for, I think, right around 84 euros. Both of those quotes are for a 100 milliliter bottle. Do I think that's worth the money? No, not at all. In terms of performance here, I think it should be priced much, much lower than that. It's had enough time to mature in the bottle. I've tested it myself extensively. And you know, what else can I say? Smells absolutely amazing, just doesn't last. And it's a huge disappointment. This could have done great things. Anyway, guys, that's been my brief review of a very frustrating fragrance here, Accendis 0.2. Like I said, if the performance on this was even just a little bit better, this would be one of my absolute favorite fragrances. But you know, if you were considering buying this one, I would probably recommend that you try your very hardest to get a sample first, because the performance might not be what you're expecting. If you read any of those reviews on the internet, I don't know, like, is there some sort of batch variation here? I haven't been able to test the old batches in the bottles that look like gas canisters. So maybe there's been a huge reformulation that I just don't know about. But as it stands right now, I would not recommend paying retail price for this. And another quite similar fragrance, like I said, Déclaration Parfum from Cartier. It has that same sort of slightly sweet, spicy, balsamic thing going on. Not exactly the same, but I think that one could replace this one, especially if we're talking about the performance. Anyway, guys, hope this has been a little bit enlightening. Accendis. Yeah, anyway, sorry to bring some bad news, but anyway, that's just the way she goes sometimes. Until next time, keep it real.